Hello, I'm Peter Georgilopoulos, sports physiotherapist based on the Gold Coast in Carrara in Australia. Today we're just going to do a very simple demonstration of how to undertake an ankle strapping, which is a very common thing that most people would like to be able to do for sports and injury prevention. The sort of materials that we can use to get better adhesion and skin protection are skin prep, which is like a plastic skin which we can spray on beforehand. And if we want better adhesion of the materials onto the skin, if it's going to be very humid or wet conditions, or we're going to use it in water, then we can actually use a spray adhesive as well. For today's purposes, Alyssa has been very kind to donate her foot to us, but we're not going to use either of these products because we're going to use an underwrap, which is also like a foam membrane, which helps us just to protect the skin a little bit. So we start on the outside part of the foot at the lower end, and we roll inwards and upwards, so we're following the line of how we're going to be strapping the ankle later on, so that we don't unravel this particular foam as we apply the zinc oxide tape. So come down just a little bit more for me, thank you, and if we just hold the foot into that position there, that's really quite important that we maintain that position of plantar at 90 degrees. Now, we apply an anchor up here first, and we don't go directly across. We normally go marginally down, around the back, and then back up again. Of course, the foreleg is not a cylinder, it's more of a cone shape, so we've got to accommodate that by coming around and up again. Once we've placed the anchor in place, the first stirrup that we place is behind the medial malleolus on that side, and we'll come around this side and you'll see exactly where that's placed. So we just place that gently, we come up on the outside and we apply a little bit of upward tension in here. Cutting the tape may look to be difficult, but it's not. All you need to do is use the end of your thumbnail across there and the tape will cut quite easily. We cover that by 50% again, so we half cover that particular tape, follow the position of the previous tape up and attach that with a little bit of tension. As we're coming increasingly further forward, we can alleviate the amount of upward pull that we're applying on the tape. And the last one, of course, the third stirrup, we just place that in place like so again. Of course, there are many variations on the theme. This is only one of many types of ankle strapping techniques we can use. Having applied the 3 stirrups, we then do a couple of figure 6s. To do this, we apply the first bit of tape across the outer border of the foot and come across the top of the foot and then wind underneath. Be very careful that that leading edge there is not pulled too tight, because in bringing the foot back, those tendons can get stressed and you can end up with a blood blister on that point there. So we just lay the tape on very gently and then follow that position up laterally on the outside part of the ankle, attach that down and cut that off there. And then we repeat the whole thing again for another 6, so that we really reinforce the outer part of the ankle, which is of course what we're wanting to do in most cases, because this is where most of the ankle injuries occur. The greatest majority occur on the lateral complex. Having done that, I then tend to go across the joint line like so, and the reason I do this is so that we can enclose it all in, and by placing my first bit of tape across the joint line like this, I'm not likely to get the leading edge going across the joint line and creating further blood blisters at that point there. So I only do a half basket weave so that we allow the Achilles bare at the back, and then I just half cover that again and work my way up. Having done that, that could be quite sufficient on its own, but I'll do a heel lock as well. To do a heel lock will help me to support the talus within the ankle mortise firmly up against the tibia and the fibula, and it gives us greater stability. And I generally tend to do this last, so that if the strapping is too tight, then we can easily take this off and we haven't wasted this amount of tape. Of course, tape can be expensive over a long period of time. So to do a heel lock, we place the first bit of tape on the medial or the inside part of the ankle. We come in underneath, and as the name suggests, we then go around and lock the heel in. So this is where it can get a little bit tricky for a lot of people. They can lose it at this point. You then come forward anteriorly and follow it down underneath and finish up posteriorly like so. In doing that, we've now locked the heel in on this side. We've also locked the heel in on that side as well too. The last thing we need to do is just to put another anchor on top and hold the whole thing in place We get points for neatness, and that's an ankle strapping with the heel exposed. The Achilles is bare. There's no pressure on the head of the fifth metatarsal. There should be no pressure across the joint line, and that should be quite comfortable.